and gentlemen, President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. To introduce the President, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take my seat finally and hand over to the CEO of Rich Management, the man who made it possible to bring Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni in the House, Ali Khan Sachu.
It's a great pleasure and privilege to host His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, at Mindspeak today.
Mr. Ali Khan, the topic you asked me to speak about is the topic of socio-economic transformation and regional political integration. And that's what I'm going to speak about. I don't normally have written speeches, and you will forgive me when once in a while I digress from this written speech. But since I'm the one who wrote it myself, I think the digressions will be minimal. So, I have been having a big war within Uganda because I could not understand how a country can develop without electricity. How do you become a modern country without electricity? But the sort of wars we have had to have, first of all, internally, with the civil servants. You find there is a commissioner of energy, which means a commission of darkness. The man is an engineer with a degree in electricity. But the fellow is not bothered about electricity in the country. And I was telling them, I was saying, you civil servants, you are the biggest curse for Africa. Because I told them, I said, even Idi Amin, if somebody had gone to him in his ignorance and told him that, Your Excellency, we needed more electricity, even Idi Amin would have done it. Because even Idi Amin wanted to be a big man, successful, and so on, although he was killing people. But to find that, first of all, the intellectual class, they don't know this. They're just there, engaged in sort of activities like the other character was behind there. I cannot accept this. Now that I have discovered the problem, we are just moving. We are moving. We are forcing the civil servants to do what we must do. Fortunately, now we have our own money. In the past also there was another problem, that we didn't have money. We had to depend on begging from outside and loans. But those people are not interested in serious programs for Africa. Just interested in small things to teach you how to organize elections. Elections. When you go to some of these meetings of Africans, you hear, oh no, Africa has got a lot of natural resources, has got a lot of, but I took the trouble and tried to look, for instance, at the potential for hydroelectricity in the whole of Africa. all the rivers of Africa put together, they would produce about 300,000 megawatts or 360,000 megawatts. You can look it up also. But we are now 1 billion people, Africans. Now, the United States, which has got a population of only 316 million, is using 1 million megawatts. In other words, the United States is using 3 times as much electricity as the whole potential of all the rivers in Africa. So therefore, my answer is that the one who is responsible for my prosperity are not this Banyankoro of mine. It is these other people who buy what I produce. They are the ones who buy what I produce. Even this market is not enough. The market of East Africa is not enough. We need to access international markets. However, when we act as a bloc, it is easier to negotiate with the other big countries for the market access. In one of our languages, we say, the one who invites you for a meal, it is because he wants something from you in return. Therefore, you cannot negotiate for big external markets when you don't have something big yourself to offer. When you integrate economically only, you do not deal with strategic security. Some countries in America, Europe, and Asia have now got presence in space. Some of the United States, some of the countries in Europe like Russia, some of the Asian countries like China and India, they are now in space. On the moon, they are looking at us here like insects. Just look. That space is common property for all of us. The moon is ours also. But we are not there. We're just here in Naivasha, Naikuru. We don't know what's going on there. These people are looking at us like this, as you are looking at insects. When the insects are just going around, you just look at them. They don't know that you are there. They're just busy with eating some sugar. If you want to kill them with insecticide, you just kill them. They will not even know. We need to go to space there and ask, what are you doing here? This is our common property. This moon is also ours.
And by the way, before I ask my question, what does Kagota mean in Banyangole?
Muguta means cow hide, the hide of a cow. So when my father was born, he was a very heavy baby, very heavy in weight. So they said, oh, this boy is as heavy as that raw hide of a cow. It's very heavy.
In my language, it means like fat, small bit of fat, right? Kaguta, small bit of fat. So yeah, there you go. You made some really valid points, Mr. President, but it looks like you are playing into the hands of those people you talk about. And I'll explain why. Less than 2 kilometers from where you're sitting right now is the leader of, or the man who ran against you in the last election. Now remember, I was there. They declared that you had won by what, 68% of the vote? 68. Fast forward. The man is calling for walk to work, whatever it is that he's calling for. Why not let the man walk to work? Hold on, Mr. President. Because look, let's face it. Let's face it. You are turning this man into a martyr, Mr. President. And that is playing into those people's game. He's going to be a martyr. He's going to be on the news. You can see every network, and I wouldn't mention that, every international broadcaster. Those are the pictures they are putting out there. Mr. President, man, I mean,
Okay, there are two issues there. There is no problem for Besigye to walk. Either to walk to work or to walk as an exercise. Whatever he wants, there's no problem. But Kampala is a very crowded city. We are still struggling with the problems of infrastructure. What we ask of him is, please, if you want to walk, inform the police so that you agree with them where you want to pass. In case you want to go walk through markets, because we have had history of some incidents of riots in the past. Because if you visited my farm, if you want to walk through my farm with the 200 or 300 people following you, surely you should inform me. Because in case my cows stampede and get lost, that will not be Christian of you. Now, what is the shop of, what is the garden of a shopkeeper in Kampala? It is his shop. So when you invite rioters to walk through the shops of people and the markets, you are like trampling on my farm. You should agree with the police how you want that to be done. You saw it was being done in the election. What was the problem? Besigye could hold whatever rallies he wanted, anywhere. But we had one arbitrator, the Electoral Commission. We all had to go and say, please, I want to hold my rally here today. Is it all right? Then the Electoral Commission says, yes, it's all right. Now, that's the problem. Now, but Besigye says, no, I will not inform the police. I will simply walk. Of course, we knew that their plans already. Their plans were to loot, to cause people to loot people's shops so that they undermine our program of recovery and development. That's all. If he wants to walk, inform the police and you can walk. There's no problem. You agree. And also cooperate with them. If they say, here, people are selling their products, don't walk through there, you should cooperate. Now, those people who are putting on the internet, Besigye and so on, they should... I saw one man, an American, a white man, I don't know what he is, I think he's like a mayor or something like that. He went and obstructed traffic in I think it was Washington or New York, and he was being arrested by the police. And he was not kicking police, he was not fighting, he was cooperating. That's how it should be. Otherwise, we have no problem with walking. It is walking without cooperation with the police.